everyone, this is Gunnar with On the Brink Games, and I'm bringing you a standard deck tech with Atarka Red. This list especially is a twist of Brian DeMar's list that he won Star City. He won a Star City Open with on October 3rd, right after Battle for Zendikar was released. So let me just sort by converted mana cost here, if my Magic the Gathering would like to, and let me just go through the cards that are in this deck and the few changes I've made to the deck itself. So it's pretty standard. It's got 21 lands. It has one forest that you can get with those windswept heaths and wooded foothills, obviously, and then 2 Cinderglades, which is the new dual land from Battle of Zendikar. It's a mountain or forest, so you can definitely get it with all of the fetches in the deck, and it does need 2 basic lands to be in play to not come into play tapped, which is very easy not to have happen. So it's a great card. I'm really glad they printed it, and it seems to be working pretty well. The reason we have so many fetch lands, because usually we'd probably only run 8, but we're running 10, is because we have cards like Become Immense in the deck. Become Immense is a Delve spell. It's Delve 5, and it gives a target creature +6/+6 until end of turn, which is insane, with another card that this deck features that's not really of the ordinary Atarka Red decks, and this is Temur Battle Rage. Temur Battle Rage is an instant for a colorless and a red source that gives a target creature double strike, and if you have Ferocious, which you will if you have played Become Immense, it gives trample. So this gives combat math pretty insane. You're playing a very aggressive deck, and if one thing goes unblocked, it's probably lethal. Even if they do block and you go ahead and give it trample, it's probably going to be lethal even then, because you're going to be usually attacking. If it's you Become Immense a 1/1, it's going to be 14 points of damage, so it's going to be a 7/7 with double strike trample. Pretty hard to deal with. Temur Battle Rage is a very strong card. And here's Atarka's Command, one of the cards that the deck is named after. Atarka's Command is just a burn spell that can give your whole team +1/+1 until end of turn. You can also put a land into your hand, which is not something I've ever done with Atarka's Command yet. I'm not saying I won't do it in the future, but I haven't done it yet. And it stops your opponents from gaining life this turn, so it's a very good skull crack. It's instant speed, obviously, so that's great. And then we have 4 copies of Dragon Fodder. It's a great for its mana cost. It floods the board. It makes Atarka's Command better. It's a pretty good card. Pretty poor against control though, but you know. And then we go over here to 4 Abbots of Carol Keep. This is a card from Origins that is insane and really pushes the deck to be very strong, and really gives the red deck something it was missing, which was card advantage. Abbot of Carol Keep is a 2-drop. It's a 2/1 with prowess. When it enters the battlefield, I can exile the top card of my library, and I can play it until end of turn, which really gives us the card advantage that this deck was missing. This deck actually plays 2 Chandras of Caroline. Chandra, for those that don't know, it's a 2/2 for 3 mana, and you can tap it to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. Chandra is also Chandra will flip if I tap it to deal 1 damage after, and if that last point of damage is 3 damage or enough, it will flip into Chandra the Roaring Flame, and Chandra the Roaring Flame starts at 4 loyalty. You can +1 to deal 2 damage to target player, -2 to do 2 damage to a creature, or if you are lucky enough to get to the ultimate, but by that time the game is probably over, you can -7 and have her do 6 damage to each opponent. And at the beginning of and each player, let me rephrase that, and each player dealt damage this way gets an emblem with at the beginning of your upkeep. This emblem deals 3 damage to you. So it's 6 damage straight off the top, and then 3 damage at the beginning of all their upkeeps. I've never done the ultimate, just because I haven't needed to, because the game's over by the time I activate her once or twice. Just 4 Zergo, just 1/1 for, it's a 2/2 for 1 mana that has dash. Great card. Very aggressive. 4 Wild Slashes. This is a card that we need 4 of in the deck just because there's so many Warden of the First Trees out there, other opposing red decks. This is a great tempo play, and Jace, the new Planeswalker from Origins. Then we have 4 Titan Strength. This card is a very great card and also combos pretty well with Tournament Battle Rage and gives us a little card selection with the Scry ability. And then 4 Monastery Swiftspears, obviously one of the better cards, aggressive cards. And then we have 3 main deck Hangerback Walkers. Some people may be thinking, oh, you know, this is pretty much the change I made, was I put 3 Hangerback Walkers in the main deck. This card is way too powerful not to play, I think. It isn't a very aggressive card, but against the mirror match, it really can close out the game and they can't do anything. So it's a card that I think deserves the main deck slot. And then we move over to the sideboard. And let me see if I can sort. So his sideboard is very different than mine. He had this Hangerback Walkers in the sideboard. I do have the 4th one in the sideboard. I was playing this with 20 lands and 4 Hangerbacks. I did 5-0 a standard league on Magic the Gathering Online with it that way, but I don't think it's as consistent, and I think I really want the 21st land just to avoid getting mana screwed. And then we have 3 Outpost Sieges. This is for the control matchup and any like grindy matchups where I really need card advantage. And the dragons could come up, and I could definitely win with that part of the, and then of it. Then I have 1 Goblin Heel Cutter. This card is great. If I curve out into Goblin Heel Cutter and he only has 1 blocker, definitely this can force through damage that I could maybe not attack in. Maybe has 2 blockers and it's unprofitable for me. I play Goblin Heel Cutter and maybe it comes back and makes a profit. Instant speed, it's great against control too. And then I have 2 Scab Clan Berserkers. This card I think is very good. It's a 2/2 with haste and renown 1, and when my opponent casts a non-creature spell, it deals 2 damage to that player. It's a 3 mana 2/2 with haste, which is great, and that comes through a 3/3 that can deal more damage to my opponent. So it has just pure upside. Very good card. I'm enjoying it. We have 1 Arc Lightning. This is for aggressive matchups, the mirror match, etc. Not much to say. Same here with Twin Bolt. I could be playing more Arc Lightnings, but I think the mana efficiency of Twin Bolt is good, and I think it's enough better. And as instant speed, it can be a blowout in some cases. 2 copies of Roast. This is for Siege Rhino and Offenza and cards along those lines that clog up the ground and that all my other burn spells won't be able to take care of. And then 3 copies of Fire Impulse. Fire Impulse has a Spell Mastery ability that it will deal 3 damage to target creature instead of 2 if I have 2 instant sorceries in my graveyard. This is a very good card against the Jeskai Black deck that has become very popular. I can go Wild Slash, like if I curve out decently and I have like a Titan Strength or let's say a Dragon Fodder in the yard, and I go like, they go Jace, I go Wild Slash, and they go, okay, Mantis Rider attack you for 3, and I go Fire Impulse. So it's a very good card that deals with Mantis Rider where I wouldn't be able to deal with it on instant speed. Great tempo play, and it's great against those aggressive decks. And this Fire Impulse also, in the same vein, kills a Warden of the First Tree on that's leveled up to level 1. So yeah, and I played this deck last weekend at a pre-PTQ. I made the top 4, and I lost in top 4 to a red-green Atarka deck, but was more focused on landfall. But in all, this deck, I've taken it through some leagues, and I went 4-1, 5-0, and now I'm going to make a 8-man video. So stay tuned for those games. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Gunnar with On the Brink Games. Stay tuned for the 8-man.